Hi, everybody. Out here where I'm living now, we've got some really, really hot summers. And it reminds me of the weeks that we would spend every year at Grandma's farm. And it was at a little town called Homa, south of New Orleans, and way out on Bayou Sally Road. And the farm was hand built by Grandpa Elmer back when he was a young man. And thinking about it now, I can picture the rusty tin roof and the porch that's cattywampus and the barn that's about to fall down. Unfortunately, I never knew my grandfather. My grandmother said he died in a hunting accident. Nonetheless, my sister and I just loved those weeks out at Grandma's farm. We would swim in the pond and we'd play on the old oak trees, and it was just gorgeous. And we were surrounded by these swampy Louisiana swamp woods around us. Now, every year that we came, my grandma would pull us together carefully, lean down and say, seriously, never go into the woods. Remember that, girls. She never said why. And one night we're all in front of the fireplace. It's a big fire and we're wrapped up in quilts and we're playing checkers, and we hear a scratching at the back door. What's that, Grandma? Oh, that's probably a raccoon. She got up and she checked the doors and made sure everything was locked, and she tried to pretend it was nothing. But next day, on the back door, there were long hairs on the door. And Grandma had thought it was a raccoon, but it wasn't a raccoon. I don't know what she was keeping from us. The next year, we came upon a dead deer. It was about 50 yards from the place, the farm, and it was mutilated. The head was completely gone, body mutilated. Grandma said, don't you girls worry about it. We'll get some men to take care of it. I don't know. I was a kid, but even a kid, I knew that wasn't killed by some normal animal. Well, the last year I visited my grandmother's farm was the summer I turned 16. It was a very hot day, and I was a teenager and wanted to be alone, so I decided to walk along the little creek that goes around the property. And it was really lovely, and I took off my shoes and I could hear the water tumbling down, and the birds were tweeting and the bugs were buzzing. I was just got immersed in that. And suddenly there was no birds and there were no bugs. It was completely silent. And I looked around and I said, uh-oh, I've gotten into the forest. So I turned back and I head to the farmhouse. And I stopped when I heard a crack on a branch behind me. I was too afraid to look, so I started walking again. A few steps later, I heard the crack again. And I turned around slowly. Oh my God. What I saw scared the shit out of me. It was a man or something that was over 6 feet tall, had long hair, and even though he looked like a man, he had ears like a dog. And I hightailed out of there, tore through the woods to the farmhouse, slammed the door, locked it shut. Grandma looks up. Did you go into the woods? Was all she asked. Oh, I'm sorry, Grandma. I didn't know there was a thing. It was big. It was scary. What was that? I was going on. She says, well, girl, I guess it's time to tell you the story. Your grandfather, on one of his hunting trips, found the carcass of an animal that had been ripped to shreds, and he thought it had been killed by a bear, so he went to track the bear in a den deep in the forest. But it was no bear, child. Your grandfather said it was like a man with long dark hair, and it had the head of a wolf. And they fought, and your grandfather lived, but he was badly injured. In the morning, he had changed. His eyes sunk and his hair on his body grew long and dark. And in a few hours, he had just run off because he realized what was happening. He didn't want to hurt me. The thing you saw in the forest, child, that was your grandfather. The animal that he fought with was a rougarou, and it turned him into a rougarou as well. And he comes around now and then, not fully beast and not fully human. And I think your grandfather is still inside somewhere, and I pray he'll come back from whatever he has become.